Okay.
I want to hear your highlights from this week of
Okay.
acting and the profession that you want. Let's start there.
Thank you. Yes. Well, I've been meeting with a new acting coach.
That same one we talked about, you like them?
Yeah, I do. This was my second week.
Is this like a
Third week in
weekly
total.
setup?
It is. He's my dad's friend, my dad's good friend's friend. And he's been like a working actor over the years. He's done really well on certain things, and yeah, he's also taught on the side for a long time. And actually, I told him we should have him on the pod, which we should. But
I'd love to. So
right,
what's the setup? Like he gives you a scene and then you work on it, or is it stuff you're auditioning for?
the first one was an audition that I had, and after that, he's like, "Dude, I really want to like help you get to the next level. Sort of. I feel like you're right there. I'm gonna do it for free, and then once you book a job, just pay me then," which is so nice of him.
Damn, that's dope.
It's incredible because I was thinking about trying to get back into an acting class anyway, and I really can't afford it.
Bro, acting
And
classes are they're some of the biggest scams. I mean, there are a few, like we had Josh Baton on. His class is dope. His class is legit.
totally,
But for the most part, I would say 95% of the acting classes out here, I don't understand how they can be so expensive. And
yeah,
these are like struggling actors who probably haven't
yeah,
booked anything. Like,
yeah,
how the fuck can people afford this shit? Like, they're probably deciding between rent or acting class. It's like
100%.
it's like $500 minimum for one session, you know?
Well, no, most of these classes, I think the market rate is probably $300 a month, around that.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, which is a lot.
That's still sizable. Yeah. Just thinking about like what actors make or their, waiters
I
or
think
whatever.
150 a month is like an honest price. I wouldn't be able to turn that away. If it was 150 a month, that means like, because
I agree.
by the way, it's not even like it's personalized classes.
It's
Anyway,
not private classes. You're just watching people do
no.
scenes.
And so that good acting class that I was in for 2 years, John Rosenfeld Studios,
Yep.
that at least, well, the funny thing about that was it was really good and everyone got better in it. It was impossible not to get better. Like
Right.
you really were working every week to try to figure out how to make this material the best it could possibly
And where
be,
was
right?
this guy?
So this is West Hollywood.
Why don't you take him?
I stopped during COVID when it went online. I was still doing it online on Zoom for a while,
Yeah.
but then they were giving me like a really good rate, and then once they started charging normal fee, I just
You were
couldn't
like,
do it.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, not on Zoom, but I don't blame them, I guess. Um, but all they had a really fun thing in that class too, where they would have you like take scenes from movies, anything that you drew inspiration from, even if it was like a real life reality show or anything, and then you went and transcribed it, you wrote it down and stage directions and everything, and saw afterwards you'd see like, okay, what was on the page versus how the actors chose to perform it, and see
Right.
how they got there. Like if the line was like, oh, I'm really tired, but then the person was like, I'm really tired, you'd be like, oh my gosh, what a choice by the actor.
Yeah.
And the point is, you'd like figure out how to like mimic that performance, and by mimicking it, it was like a roundabout way of figuring out how to act that way. And
Cool.
like I would do a scene from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and most actors, like, you don't get to do those types of behaviors and stuff in your scenes, and once you feel it like from the outside in, then it's like you can be like, oh, I've at least performed like that in front of people, now I can like kind of bring that into my other material that I haven't seen performed already.
Right.
I thought it was brilliant. um and then also, why I bring it up is because most of the people in that class, dude, and it was a really good class, didn't have reps. They didn't even have reps at that time. I was probably, it was like right, it was like 4 years ago that I was in it, or that I started at least 5 years ago. And if I were in it now, I'd be the big dog for sure. But so now I'm at a place where, I got this audition and I met my dad's friend, and I was like, I'm gonna coach with him, and it went well, went really well. And then he said that, and so I've had 2 sessions with him since,
Great.
and both sessions we've had the same material. It's 2 scenes from the TV show Jack Reacher. And he first session I came in, and you really just like he's the whole point is to try to take me from an 8 as an actor to a 10. I already understand getting into the mind of the writer, trying to bring to life the circumstances, understanding the who, what, when, where, and why, what I'm acting. But it's even more trying to figure out what plays well, not having any bad habits, not pushing anymore. And really just trying to make it so that I'm doing like game ready work every time. Really just thoughtful acting,
Right.
really in the pocket, and interesting choices and heightened, clear choices on everything. It's great. I should send you some of my scenes that I'm doing it if you don't mind. I don't know. You're always interested in that stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
He puts me on camera, by the way. He puts me on camera, and I get the scenes after and get to study it.
Are you one of those actors that has problem watching yourself back?
Yes, I will not watch myself. I refuse. If I'm in the next Top Gun, I'm gonna look away. I won't go to the premiere.
Are you fucking kidding? You wouldn't see the movie?
No. Dude. Even if it's Martin Scorsese, I won't. I refuse.
Okay, Johnny Depp.
Just kidding.
I feel you're that whole like working on it every week. It's like keeping yourself sharp, because then when opportunity hits, you're ready to go. It's like keeping the gears loose. I felt like when I was in process of making shorts, like every fucking week, every day, whatever, kept me in process, kept me in gear. So then when an opportunity would hit, I'd be ready to go.
You approach it the same way.
Yeah.
You're already in the process of making that good stuff.
Yeah. Because otherwise you're like, you're stagnant for like a year, and then you get an opportunity and you're not ready.
Totally. I keep telling myself too, like my fundamental self-help principles. I'm like, don't get complacent. Like, do better than you did last week. What were the things that you kind of took away from last week? Already, he was telling, and I'm trying to remind myself, like he told me, like, make it so that everything in the script that's discussed, I have an image for that. And there's a lot of stuff. It's a detective show, so it's like when the other character refers to this cop, there's gonna have a visual for that, have some, so that you have charges, triggers, like in real life. Like you have thought about everything in real life. Point of view. So I'm really trying to not fake myself with that anymore. I'm not trying to get away with bad habits just because of excuses. I'm trying to, like, every little thing, once you have a charge for every little thing that's in the script and it's coming across, then it's not acting anymore. You're just living in that real. That's where I'm trying to get. And the more that I, talk about it and just lean into it, the better. What were you saying?
Craft is really fucking important. Number one, craft is really important. So the fact that you're working on this consistently is incredible. My question to you is, a lot of actors, they're so into the art side of it and doing that, kind of auditioning for opportunities, going the more traditional route. You have all these big projects that are lined up, as in, like, you are getting these opportunities. You have reps. I'm hearing about these auditions. So things are coming your way. But on the other side of it, as far as creating your own material and putting it out there, is that something that's on your radar at all right now? Because I'll say this, the closer that I'm getting to, wrapping my mind around this, like, low budget feature, whatever, learning the ins and outs of distro, financing, marketing, I feel like there are so many shitty actors out there who are getting work for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I feel like if an actor knew how to produce as well and was like a fucking shark when it came to producing, it would only benefit them, So I feel like it's a two-part. If an actor both has a really fucking strong craft that they can back up this shit, but at the same time, they can put themselves up for opportunities and set things up and get the green light for shit. I feel like that's the ultimate combo.
It is. and I want to do that, obviously. The biggest thing to me that comes to mind is obviously with making my own stuff is this feature talking about with you, and then also trying to get my comedy stuff going again, which that's all kind of, yeah, like, it changes week to week, but at this point it's a little bit of in the back seat
Yeah.
to Valley Mentality, and then trying to do like auditions and stuff at the moment. I'm not getting too many auditions at the moment, but
But that
um
also does change week to
oh,
week. It's funny because
it,
like 2 weeks ago, you're talking about all these auditions, or at
yeah,
least the one big one.
yeah, that's true. Well, that I got on my own. Um
Yeah,
and
I mean, it comes down to, and this is always a question for me too. It's like you only have a limited amount of bandwidth, especially with this survival job that you've got. Like,
yeah,
there's only a limited amount of bandwidth. You have to also like watch movies and eat food. Like, you have to be a human too, You have to enjoy your
yeah, I think
weekends every
so.
once in a while, be well rounded. So it comes down to like, I think
Yeah,
you
like pickleball is a big part of my life now too.
yeah, that's like at least 60%. So you got to ask
90%.
yourself, like, priority wise, am I being as strategic as I can? Because that's always a question for me too. Because I'm like, am I putting all my focus in the right areas? Because I'm the type of person that's very tunnel visioned. If I'm like, okay, like we're both in this career where it's like you have to create your own chaos. So you don't have a boss telling you like, okay, this is what your assignment is. Like you have to create your own shit. You have to make your
Yeah.
own projects. And
100%.
so I've had to learn the skill of like, I can be really tunnel vision. If I were tomorrow to be like, I'm gonna make a horror short every day for like the next year, then I could do it. But that's likely
Question of if it's the right
that's
thing.
use of my time. Yeah. So it's about like taking, and I'm just speaking for myself here, but I found like taking a step back, really surveying everything, being like, okay, here are all the possibilities. What's the next thing that makes
Trust
the most
me.
amount of sense? And for
And
me,
yeah,
it's that micro feature because that's the one thing that I have.
I
I
love
feel
it.
like that would
We've
have
talked about
the
that.
biggest
Yeah.
bang for a buck to get me to the next place.
I think that is big as well. I think for both of us too. But yeah, I think that's because you've had the short films and success with the short films, and now you need a sick feature under your belt.
Yeah.
Like something that it's gotta be good. Low budget, but that is something that is a calling card where you can show people, and maybe it gets into film festivals and stuff.
Yeah. I mean, at minimum, hopefully, there's and at the same time too, bro, it's having a really sick feature, but also taking it a step further in that understanding the whole business of it, I'm getting how important like marketing is myself at the forefront before I even start production. There are all these things that go into making a feature that's like you got to be thinking about like making relationships with distributors so that you can have something set up before you start shooting. Because there are so many people who shoot their first feature and they're like, I got this feature, now what? And they might
Oh
enter
yeah.
festivals or whatever, but like, and then maybe they get a predatory distributor who just fucks them over, like, market cap at like 100K for 10 years and they're just fucked. And that's just because filmmakers aren't
It
educated in like
happens.
the whole
Yeah.
process.
Well, it's because the process also is always changing. But I think with all media jobs and everything, it's like anything else. You have to have thought before you go into it. You don't just wing it for
Right.
the most part. So you can sometimes when you're way more experienced, but when you're, for the most part, you have to have thought and invest time into it before you start,
Yeah.
and strategize, right?
Yeah. I'm lucky that I'm actually interested in horror because it's the only genre that you can have low budget and also have this high impact. Um, I found that I mean the change in approach that I've had over the last month is basically, I've written all these scripts, but they need like at minimum 100K to produce to not like completely sacrifice the quality. And that's not even me being like this arrogant filmmaker where I'm like, for my vision to be executed
For
perfectly.
my vision to not be compromised, I need
Bro,
$25 million.
yeah. I could turn in nah. It's really I'm finding like you know, you can have like a really high impact horror feature that is very low budget, that delivers on the premise and takes what constraints you have and forces the creativity. I found like what I'm saying, like the 100K minimum, whatever, you realize through these certain things, I made the $10,000 feature that right now it's still stuck in post 2 years later. And that's because there are all these things that you need in place, minimum. And also like to get your legal basis covered. Like if you give people profit percentages, you need an accountant on retainer. Like there's all this shit that goes into it. So it's just figuring out like what is that concept? It's paring everything down. I think the best example of this is even though they probably paid Ryan Reynolds like a shit ton of money, but he did that one movie where he's like in a casket.
Van Wilder.
Van Wilder, is that an actor?
It was the movie Ryan Reynolds kind of got famous off of.
Nah, this one I think it was called Buried. Buried is literally
like Buried.
Buried. It's
Buried.
literally it's him in a casket the entire movie because he was buried underground. Bro, by the way, it's definitely worth the watch just from an acting perspective, because if you think about that challenge, the entire film, 90 minutes, it's just you. He delivers one of the most incredible performances I've seen, and he holds your attention. At the same time, filmmaking wise, bro, huge huge success. Like I feel like everything they did, all the camera angles, but yeah, the premise is he was like this army guy like out in Afghanistan or whatever. He was buried underground, and then all this shit happens, and he has like a cell phone and a flashlight, and that's the whole movie.
I think I have heard of it. Yeah.
Really low budget. Obviously, if you didn't have Ryan Reynolds, you could make it for a shit ton less. But it's about putting that, thinking about that, because there's always a way to like expand it out and make something more expensive, but really thinking how to pare down a concept, 4 walls, 2 actors. What's the scariest thing that I can make?
You should approach my dad about it and ask him what he suggests. He's really good at budgeting movies.
Dude, we got to have him on.
We do have to have him on next week, maybe.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Down 100%.
All right, let's do it.
We got to talk about his movie.
About his movie?
Yeah, dude, I love this movie.
That'd be so funny. Yeah, I agree.
Bro, him and your mom. Like, I'm shocked. What are we, like 55 episodes deep? We still haven't.
We have to wait till episode 100.
That's it. Yeah.
500.
I like how our first guest was Jimmy.
I know. We started off with a bang.
Bang, bro.
Big one. Wait, what were you saying? Oh yeah. No, and all right, so yeah, I'm actually gonna bring that up to my dad, but he's very good at, he'll just tell you can make the movie for probably like $5,000 or something. Well,
yeah.
But
because there are all these things that you can take out, bro. Like at the end of the day, because you can like cling on to a creative idea and be like, nah, like I need this. But you don't, bro. Like if you really you can take any concept.
Make the movie.
Make the movie.
Freaking movie.
That's it.
Make the movie. That's the golden rule, I would assume.
Bro, the amount of scripts that I've written that I'm like,
yeah, what are you writing?
Well, I'll talk about it, but I just, there are like 6 scripts that I've written that I'm like stoked about, that I'm like, these would make great horror movies, but I need the one in the can that launches the shit that I can make for 15K or whatever, because I'm not going to get the opportunity to make the $100,000 ones without this first initial one, But anyway, you know what, bro? It's weird. It's weird how it works. I love thinking about paring down shit. That's really the wave I've been riding. There's this one short that I did called Clap Clap, like 2 years ago. It was one of my first. And it's about this guy, James Nichols II, one of my favorite actors. I worked with him like a few times. He was in The Waiting Room, but started with Clap Clap. And the whole concept is he's this like creepy guy who's in a diner, and there's this little girl with her mom, and she's like looking up at the guy, kind of creeped out. And all of a sudden, and the mom's on her cell phone, she's not paying attention. And all of a sudden, the guy claps his hands twice. Everyone in the diner freezes in place, except for him and the little girl. and then he takes her, kidnaps her, leaves. She screams. He then returns back. He kills her outside the diner. He returns back, sits down, claps his hands again, and then the mom looks up from her phone and she's like, Rachel? She's like running around screaming for her. Bro, that concept's fucking sick. And I could pare that shit down. Like the initial vision of it was like, let me get like 1,000 extras and the man claps his hands and then they all freeze in place. It's like, nah, bro, just like pare that shit down. It can all take place in a diner, few characters. Like it's not that hard.
Take place in a bathroom.
Bathroom, bro. Saw, you know?
Just in a toilet. I always think of Saw. No, yeah, it's a very interesting exercise just to think like what's the simplest we could do it and go from there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I want to hear more
Clap,
about
clap.
Yeah, I want to hear more about this comedy stuff though. Like ultimately, like I get it's on the back burner, but
Yeah.
I've heard from you before that you're like, oh, the dream would be like if I had this prank channel and I put out stuff every week or whatever. Is that something you'd ever still do, or are you kind of over that?
My own punked.
Yeah, dude. I see several channels, bro, that are hilarious. Churdley's is a great one. There's this one I saw called Almost Friday. I just found today. It's hilarious. Just a group of guys that get
Friday beers. And they do Almost Fridays as well. Yeah, it's like on Instagram they started as like a memes thing.
Oh, really?
And yeah. And then they started
those guys?
Called
Or you've seen their stuff?
I've seen their stuff, and they went to. I think a bunch of them went to TCU.
Dude, there's this hilarious. I've only seen one of their videos, but it came out like yesterday. Shit ton of views, and it's about like it's this really stupid sketch. It starts out, and all of a sudden it cuts to like HBO, and then it's really well shot, like behind the scenes of how they executed this vision for this stupid prank. They're super serious. They have like all the actors. It's fucking hilarious.
Yeah, they're good. They're really, really good. Yeah, dude, yeah. The comedy stuff. I mean, I eventually love the concept of like having, like you said, like a channel of a bunch of different stuff, not necessarily just comedy or whatever.
You got this incredible camera. What are you doing with it?
It's right next to me. It's right. This one right here. Well, tomorrow we're shooting a photo shoot for Valley Mentality.
Cool.
For the new material. I mean, dude, I could do a number of things. We're trying to do videos for Valley Mentality coming up. I'm getting a lot better with Adobe Illustrator. It's insane. I'm learning design on that. Like I can draw on Adobe Illustrator digitally, or I can draw, and I've been doing like artwork on Sketch and then uploading it to my iPad and tracing it and then going from there, which is like a lot more than most people who've taken classes even know how to do.
You got the whole Adobe suite?
Yeah. I believe so. Yeah, I got Premiere Pro per your recommendation for editing movies. And then what else, bruv? Dude, it's all good. I got the pickleball tournament.
It all sounds good. And again, it's just a question of like whatever your priorities are right now. Yeah, go ahead.
My main priorities right now, yeah, you made me think about that, was I am trying to really make the most in my acting of these auditions I get. The time is now. And I really want to be ready to, like, with anything new that comes up. So I think honing in with this acting coach and just making the craft. I'm back at the craft. It was a couple of years kind of off of like trying to make my own stuff, making my own stuff, and like writing a bit, and trying comedy and like all this stuff that kind of expanded my creative satisfaction. But now it's like that one specific area, like I really want to dive in deep into making that area big, obviously. Yeah. And everything else that's also around that. Pushing forward to that too. And trust me, I evaluate all the time. I'm thinking like, geez, when am I going to be able to dive into comedy, write my own stuff? Because like if I was kind of famous from comedy right now, then that would mean I'd probably have no day job and I could afford it.
Yeah, but
It's
then like Valiant Mentality takes off, don't need a day job. It's like all these
exactly.
different pieces that you don't know. I heard from some, this is the most frustrating part about all this, is that you never know what's going to hit. That's always the facto. That's like, and I heard, like, I watched this video where they're talking about what makes a successful person. And they said it's not like all about execution, which is something that I've been writing for a long time, which I used to be like, okay, you get up at 4 a.m. every day, you fucking write this number of pages, you do all this shit. But this video was talking about how Steve Jobs, it's like he had this idea, he did execute, but at the same time, he had this like non-traditional idea that everyone would have a computer on their desk, which was fucking like no one thought that at the time, you know? And so he had this crazy idea and then he executed on it and it ended up being right. That factor of being right is something that none of us can, like, we don't know, you know?
Better
So
control.
we have to all like try all this different shit. It's like all trial and error. Then eventually something will hit and then that opens the floodgates to like all this other stuff, you know? So it's just about like continuing to try different stuff, you know, being persistent. That's all you can do.
It is. I was telling people at some point, I don't even know that good acting class that I found a while back. Like, I didn't think I was gonna find a good acting class. I didn't, and I didn't think I was gonna get good. I just there was a point where I couldn't. I was so psyched out. I couldn't imagine when I was gonna be good. So like, it just came from trying different stuff. It was kind of a miracle that I found it, and then it's a miracle that I got that first like Netflix gig. So many different things that were big.
You got to be grateful, man.
Do gotta be grateful. Yeah. What do you got going this next week and everything?
I'm meeting with Ken tomorrow morning. We're going to solidify this feature I've been working on. Really like
Okay.
what's that?
I said okay. I like
Yeah,
it.
dude. It's like all go ahead on this one project. I'm trying to put all my focus into that because the thing is when you don't have a lot of money for something and you're working the confines of like one tired, working on confines of like one home, you got to think of like how to be really like really milk every moment, really be detail specific. So for this concept, like I've just got every single second of this has to be interesting. And that's the kind of focus that I haven't, you talking about like something has to be really sick. Like that's the kind of focus that I haven't really put into one project because I made like 100 shorts, but
Yeah.
that's always like just kind of a drop in the bucket and then move on to the next thing. This is like, let's take one project and really put our all into this one thing, see what happens.
I'm excited for it, man. It's the opportunity's there.
Yeah.
Why not?
What do
How are we
you
doing
got?
on time, big dog? I'm curious.
We got like
Not
3 minutes.
we got what?
3 minutes.
Cool, cool, cool. Um so I'm passing out over here, guys. Uh what do I got going on? I got the pickleball tournament on Saturday.
Tournament. Is your
Tourney.
dad your partner or who?
Oh, if only. Um he's too good for me. Uh my partner is my cousin Tyler Van Patten.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, we've been training together.
Sick.
Man, so funny, man. Yeah, the tournament's in Newport Beach.
Uh-huh.
They also have pros on the side. If you guys want to come down and watch,
Hey.
you never know.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just something fun to get up for.
Yeah, totally.
So I'll report back how we do.
Please do, bro. Is this your first tournament?
It is.
Sick.
We're doing the division 3.5, which it's not complete beginners. It's not really advanced either. Apparently, people that are like really good drop down into it and do it. So I don't know what to expect. We'll see. I mean, we're good. We're freaking good.
Yeah. Are you still seeing the networking opportunities there?
It's a great question. 100%. Crazy. It's crazy. The
Dude,
sport is
you
exploding.
gotta go on this pickleball script. What's going on with that? That's the one you were collabing on with your dad, right? Where are
We're,
you at?
we're
with
gonna
it?
write it. We're gonna write it. We still.
Is it at like the outline stage or what?
He had a full outline. He's already got the outline done. We worked on it.
I love the
So
concept. It's kind of like it's like a Duke of the Valley Part 2.
that's for sure. It's kind of, it's like the Balls of Fury dodgeball.
Yeah, that's exactly
Yeah,
that's the
yeah,
spot I'm thinking.
yeah. Means pickleball with Caitlyn Jenner
Always.
naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah. So full steam ahead. I gotta, dude. We're doing the photo shoot for the Value Mentality close tomorrow as well.
Sick.
Yeah, man.
You got to make a part 2 to that commercial with
Yeah.
Tanner.
Yep. Thanks,
I want
man.
to
Yeah.
see. I want to see the sequel to that. So do the people.
The people want to see, man. He's talking
More.
about we gotta get together and write it.
Yeah.
Uh, all right, bro.
Well, look, man, get some sleep.
Yeah.
Have a good week. Good luck in your tournament. All right.
You too, brother. Have a great one.
Good things coming. Bye.
Yeah.